Hello future CS, welcome back to my channel, your one-stop guide for everything related to CA exams. In today's video, we'll be solving the case scenario 12 from the case scenario booklet for CA final financial reporting. If you are new here, I am Pooja, a chartered accountant. I have an experience of working for Ernst & Young and KPMG, and I help CA aspirants like you succeed with practical tips, strategies and support. So I have created a separate playlist as solving MCQ from case scenario booklet FR. There I will be adding all the videos relating to solving MCQs from the case scenario booklet for CA final financial reporting. The link to that playlist is added in the description below. You can access it from there. So as we go ahead with the video, I recommend you all to open the case scenario booklet and also solve this case scenario along with me. If you are new to my channel, I request you all to subscribe and hit the bell icon below so that you can get notified whenever I post new videos. So guys, when you visit my channel in the playlist section, you can see there is a separate playlist for CA final exam. And there is also a playlist for CA final auditing, CA final AFM, and also there is a playlist for this case scenario booklet where I'll be adding more videos by solving the case scenario questions. There is also a playlist as CA GPT for students. In this I have made some videos demonstrating different techniques in which you can use CA GPT while preparing for your CA exams. So please visit my channel and you can watch all of these videos. So first let's read out this case scenario. DEF Limited is a global diversified business conglomerate with operations spanning across various business sectors worldwide. The company adheres to Ind AS for maintaining its financial records and annually releases its financial statements. As the finance team progresses towards finalizing the financial statements for the fiscal year ended on 31st March 2023, the team is stuck up in the accounting of the following transaction. Transaction number 1. On 1st June 2022, DEF Limited decided to dispose of the business and current and non-current assets of one of its divisions related to the specialty chemicals business, which it had acquired several years ago. This disposal does not involve DEF Limited withdrawing from a particular market segment. So following are the carrying values on 1st June 2022 of the assets to be disposed of. So the amount is in millions. So goodwill rupees 10 million, property plant and equipment rupees 20 million, patents and trademarks rupees 8 million, inventories rupees 15 million and trade receivables rupees 10 million. None of the assets of the business had suffered impairment as at 1st June 2022. At that date, the inventories and trade receivables of the business were already stated at no more than their recoverable amounts. DEF Limited offered the business for sale at a price of rupees 46.5 million, which was considered to be reasonably achievable. DEF Limited estimated that the direct cost of selling the business would be rupees 5 lakh. These estimates have not changed since 1st June 2022 and DEF Limited estimates that the business will be sold by 31st March 2023 at the latest. So now let's see the MCQs related to this. MCQ number 1. Compute the value of specialty chemical division's goodwill at the date of classification after remeasurement. Option A, rupees 7.3 million. Option B, rupees 10 million. Option C, rupees 0. Option D, rupees 8 million. So the Ind AS applicable here are Ind AS 105, non-current assets held for sale and discontinued operations, and Ind AS 36, impairment of assets. So step number 1 is to determine the total carrying amount and fair value less cost to sell. So first let's compute the carrying amount of the disposal group. So this is in millions. This is given in the question itself. So goodwill rupees 10 million, property plant and equipment rupees 20 million, patent and trademark rupees 8 million, inventories rupees 15 million, and trade receivables rupees 10 million. So total is 63 million. So this is the total carrying amount of the disposal group. Now let's see the fair value less cost to sell. So the sale price offered is rupees 46.5 million less direct cost of selling, that is 0.5 million or rupees 5 lakhs. So fair value less cost to sell is rupees 46 million. Now step number 2 will be computation of the impairment loss. So in this case, the fair value less cost to sell is less than the carrying amount. That is, the fair value less cost to sell is rupees 46 million. But the carrying amount is rupees 63 million. Hence the balance, that is rupees 63 million minus 46 million, 17 million. This amounts to impairment loss. Next, step number 3 is allocation of impairment loss as per Ind AS 36. So as per Ind AS 36, that is impairment of assets, when applied through Ind AS 105, that is for non-current assets held for sale, it requires allocating impairment loss in the following order. First, the impairment loss has to be used to reduce the goodwill in the disposal group to 0. Then any remaining impairment loss is allocated on pro rata basis to other non-current assets, that is property, plant and equipment, patents, etc. So applying this rule to the given case in hand, we will have to allocate the impairment loss first to the goodwill. So the carrying value of goodwill is 10 million and the impairment loss is 17 million, which is greater than the goodwill amount. Hence the entire goodwill will be written down to nil. And the remaining impairment after writing of goodwill, that is 17 million minus 10 million, 7 million. This will be then allocated among the other non-current assets. Therefore, after remeasurement at the date of classification as held for sale, the value of goodwill must be reduced to 0. Hence, the correct option is option C, nil. Now, let's see the MCQ number 2. Calculate the closing balance of specialty chemical division's asset, that is property, plant and equipment at the period end. Option A, rupees 21 million. Option B, rupees 17.36 million. Option C, rupees 6 million. Or option D, rupees 15 million. The relevant Ind AS applicable here are: first is Ind AS 105, that is non-current assets held for sale and discontinued operations, and also Ind AS 36, that is impairment of assets. So let's quickly have a recap of the key figures. So the total carrying value of disposal group as of 1st June 2022, that is goodwill is rupees 10 million, property plant and equipment rupees 20 million, patents and trademark rupees 8 million, inventories rupees 15 million. This is already stated at recoverable amount, and trade receivables rupees 10 million. This is also already stated at recoverable amount, and total carrying amount is rupees 63 million. Fair value less cost to sell, which we had previously computed, is rupees 46 million, and impairment loss, that is rupees 17 million. This also we have computed as a part of solution for question 1. Now let's see about the allocation of this impairment loss. So as per Ind AS 36, first the impairment loss will have to be adjusted against the goodwill. After reducing the goodwill to 0, the remaining impairment loss is allocated on pro rata among other non-current assets, that is such as property, plant and equipment, patents, etc. Inventories and receivables are already at recoverable amounts. Hence, no impairment is allocated here. So, first we had written off the goodwill, right? So, first allocate impairment to goodwill. The carrying value of goodwill is rupees 10 million. Impairment loss, which has to be allocated, rupees 17 million. Hence, impairment allocated to goodwill is rupees 10 million. Hence, goodwill will be reduced to 0, and the remaining impairment, that is rupees 7 million. So now this has to be allocated on pro rata basis among property, plant and equipment and patents. So we will see step number 2. So the total carrying amount of property, plant and equipment and patent is rupees 20 million plus rupees 8 million, that is 28 million. Hence the pro rata percentage for property, plant and equipment will be property, plant and equipment divided by PPE plus patents. So 20 million divided by 28 million, we have 0.7143, that is 71.43%. So out of the rupees 7 million impairment remaining, 71.43 will be allocated to PPE and balance 28.57% will be allocated to patents. Let's see the calculation. So impairment allocated to PPE rupees 7 million into 71.43%, which is equal to 5 million. And balance impairment allocated to patents rupees 7 million into 28.57%, that is rupees 2 million. So now let's see the computation of adjusted carrying value of PP. So original PP carrying amount is rupees 20 million, less allocated impairment rupees 5 million. Hence closing balance of property, plant and equipment will be rupees 20 million minus rupees 5 million, that is rupees 15 million. Therefore, the correct closing balance of specialty chemical divisions PP at the period end is rupees 15 million. Hence, the correct option will be option D, rupees 15 million. Now let's read the second issue relating to the case study. The government provided DEF Limited with a grant of rupees 21 million to assist it in the development of the factory. The grant was provided in two parts. Part number 1, rupees 6 million of the grant was a payment by the government as an inducement to DEF Limited to begin developing the factory. No conditions were attached to this part of the grant. Part 2, rupees 15 million of the grant related to the construction of the factory at a cost of rupees 60 million. The rupees 60 million is depreciable over the estimated 40-year useful life of the factory without adjustment of grant amount from the cost of the factory. Now let's see the MCQs relating to this issue. MCQ number 3. What amount of the grant out of rupees 15 million with respect to construction of factory be transferred to P&L account in the year 2023-2024? Option A rupees 15 million, option B rupees 0.375 million, option C rupees 1.5 million, or option D rupees 0.125 million. The applicable Ind AS here is Ind AS 20, accounting for government grants. So as per Ind AS 20, accounting for government grants, when a grant relates to a depreciable asset, the grant amount should be recognized as deferred income and it should be released to the statement of P&L over the asset's useful life, matching the depreciation period. Hence, in this case, the grant of rupees 15 million relates to construction of the factory with an estimated useful life of 40 years. Therefore, the amount of grant income to be recognized in the statement of P&L will be 15 million divided by the useful life, that is 40 years. Let's see the computation for this. So the amount to be recognized in the P&L will be computed as follows. Rupees 15 million divided by 40 years of useful life, which is equal to rupees 0.125 million. Hence the correct option is option D, rupees 0.125 million. Now let's see the MCQ number 4. What would be the treatment of grant of rupees 6 million received from the government as an inducement to DEF Limited to begin developing the factory? Option A. Grant relating to an inducement to begin developing the factory can be recognized immediately in the statement of profit and loss. Option B. Rupees 0.15 million amount is to be credited each year in the income statement over 40-year period. Option C. Rupees 1.2 million amount is to be credited each year in the income statement over 40-year period. Or option D. Net off the grant received against the cost of the asset and depreciate the net figure over its useful economic life. So the Ind AS applicable here is Ind AS 20, accounting for government grants. So now let's see some key facts relating to the case. DEF Limited received a grant of rupees 6 million. So this is described as an unconditional inducement to begin developing a factory. That is, it was provided without any attached condition or future obligations. So unlike the rupees 15 million grant, this part is not linked directly to the cost or depreciation of the factory itself. So here the question is about how to treat this rupees 6 million grant in the financial statements. So let's see the relevant Ind AS 20 guidance. So under Ind AS 20, there are two broad categories of grants. Let's have a look at it. The first category is grant related to assets, where the grant is linked to purchasing or constructing a long-term asset. So this has to be recognized as deferred income and amortized over the asset's useful life. The next type of grant relates to grants related to income, where the grant is not tied to an asset, but it is meant as a general incentive. And this is recognized immediately in the statement of profit and loss, because it is intended to compensate for expenses already incurred or provide an incentive without specific future performance conditions. So applying these conditions to the case in hand, Since the rupees 6 million grant was given simply as an inducement to begin the project with no conditions attached, it is treated as an income grant and it should be recognized immediately in the statement of P&L. Therefore, the correct treatment here is to recognize the rupees 6 million grant immediately in the statement of P&L, consistent with the Ind AS 20's requirement for unconditional grants which are not related to an asset. Hence, the correct option is option A, that is grant relating to an inducement to begin developing the factory can be recognized immediately in the statement of profit and loss. So we have solved the MCQs relating to case scenario 12 today. That's it guys for today's video. If you found this video helpful and informative, please like the video and also share it with your friends who are also appearing for the CA final exams. And for more CA related guidance, tips, motivation and exam strategies, request you all to subscribe to my channel. All the best for your preparation and I will see you all in the next video.